Lake Worth, Florida. William Charles Bell, 55 years old, was arrested on Halloween evening. He is being accused of repeatedly raping a 14-year-old female related to his ex-wife. He had sexually assaulted this young girl in his mobile home numerous times. The teenager told her mother, who notified the Davis Police Department. The Davis Police Department believe that there are other victims out there, including two boys ages 8 and 13. This would come from a warrant that was issued to search Bell's cell phone. Authorities would find images of minors, child pornography, including him having sex with these young minors. To make matters worse, Bell is HIV positive. Bell had also infected his ex-wife 20 years ago with HIV.
This animal victimized a 14-year-old girl.
Police recorded a call between Bell and the victim. The girl asked him, "Why did you have sex with me?" He said, quote, "You wanted it too. Don't lie," end quote. The victim told him that she was upset, and he responded, quote, "Do you want me to go to jail?" End quote. Her nude images was also on his phone as well. I had looked up this case to see if this man was released. You know, sometimes they do things like that, just release these people so they can go on and continue their disgusting behavior, and I ran across an obituary. It looks just like him, doesn't it? It looks just like William Charles Bell, and I believe he died last year, 2021, of complications due to COVID. I'm hoping that everybody that came in contact with this man, I'm hoping somehow they find some kind of peace in their life, knowing that he's not here anymore. Daryl Rowe is a man from the United Kingdom. He would get on dating apps such as Grindr, preferably, and he would attract gay men like himself. But he wasn't looking for love in these ads. I saw one of his ads that a few of these men had looked as well, and Rowe is not a bad-looking man. He's actually attractive if you don't know that he's hiding a monster deep down inside him and who he really is.
Hi guys, this is my first attempt to making my YouTube video. I'm vegan. I'm very passionate about treating my body well. You are what you eat. And there's many things that I do that many people might think that, oh, that's weird, that's not right. I don't drink, I don't smoke, don't do anything like that. And one of the things that I love is coconut oil, and I use it as a body moisturizer.
Very charming, very likable. I can see why these men gravitated to wanting to meet him. He talked about everything in that interview, other than the fact that he was HIV positive and had been diagnosed 3 years prior and was on a hunt to see how many people that he could infect. He had met one man, and I won't say his name, but I felt for this man in particular. This man, both of his parents had died in the 80s of AIDS, being that they were intravenous drug users. I believe the father was, but both his parents had died of AIDS, and he was not going to get this disease. He did everything he could to protect himself from the disease. He told Rowe that he would meet him but they would not be having unprotected sex. This man had even given him condoms, and Rowe, unbeknownst to him, had poked holes in the condoms. He was intentionally setting out to infect him. He, again, was trying to infect as many people as he could. When the people he purposely infected would get in contact with him, he would taunt him. He would say things like, maybe you have a fever. I have HIV. Whoops. He would actually say stuff like that. He would send horrible, taunting messages after they had had unprotected sex with this man. He had infected 5 people that they know of. And I was glad to see that Daryl Rowe was given life in prison. And of course, they plead and they say how sorry they are. In Houston, Texas, David Richard Wilson, who's already a convicted sex offender for molesting 2 girls, was charged with raping a 14-year-old girl and a 23-month-old baby. That was his niece. She was almost 2 years old. Wilson had herpes, chlamydia, and HIV. This would be found out through the baby that had a growth on her genitals that she was brought to the hospital, and it would show that she had been infected and with all 3 sexually transmitted diseases. She had to have a reconstructive surgery to get rid of those growths. I also read comments where people were like, how did they know that it was him, that it was the nephew? Okay, she's 23 months old. She isn't around there sleeping with multiple men that she can't remember who and when this happened. She was 23 months old at home with her uncle. That's how they knew it was him. And he had the same STDs as his niece. To make matters worse, the 14-year-old girl, who is his ex-girlfriend's daughter, was pregnant at the time with his child, and yes, she was infected with all 3 transmitted diseases as well. This man has the nerve to say that he was regretful, but he also said that there was more people out there that he had infected, but he would not give any names and ages. He worked for many fast food companies in the city, so he had privy to having a lot of young people around him coming into the restaurant and also working with him in the restaurant. So he had access to a lot of these young people. He was sentenced to life in prison. Out of Baltimore, Maryland, our last case for today. Carlos D'Angelo Bell. All these cases go back, and you really, if you want to know a little bit more about it, please feel free to Google the names. I'm just giving you guys the gist of what's going on here. On June 30th, 2017, he was arrested at his home. An investigation had begun in December of 2016 after a parent reported suspicious text messages going to her son's phone. Bell was an instructional assistant at Benjamin Stuart Middle School. He was also a track coach at La Plata High School. So he had a lot of access to young children. And we know by now that's what a lot of these predators do. They try to find jobs where they have access to these young children, where they're in a trusted situation with these young children. His home was raided, and computers, any kind of electronic devices phones, anything needed for evidence was taken. 3 years worth of videos was taken out of his home. Some of these children had been inside his home and on school grounds were in these videos. The boys were ranging from ages 11 to 17 years old. They say he targeted at-risk kids. Any child around a devious predator like this is at risk. He was only out for himself. He used this child porn that he engaged himself in to only sexually gratify himself. He could care less about the children he permanently may have scarred for the rest of their lives behind his actions. He had victimized 42 boys. He actually had went on a reality show trying to get a job working at Cosmopolitan magazine. Here is a short clip of what Belle said during that little reality show.
My name is Carlos Bell. I'm 25 years old and I live in Harlem. I was born in Washington, D.C. To a very, I wouldn't say very poor family, but sometimes we went out with water and, we didn't have electricity for months, but my mom, she worked very hard, years and years, to basically set up, a really good life for us.
105 to 305 years in prison is what Carlos D'Angelo Bell had received. So good information in today's video, right? All of them are in prison for the rest of their life, and one of them is not here anymore. AIDS have been around for a long time. And we know how to protect ourselves now from it. The unfortunate part is they do have a medicine that AIDS is not detected now. I mean, that's good. If you are a person that had AIDS and HIV and it's not detected in your blood and you might be leading a healthier lifestyle, hopefully you are telling the people that you are sexually involved with that you were once HIV positive. It's going to be hard for people to do that because they don't want to even say when the AIDS and HIV is still in their blood and showing up. They don't want to say. People have to be more careful, is all I can say. I've said right now, COVID can kill people quicker than HIV and AIDS. I've said that. I've said that because of how certain family members in this 3-year period of COVID have passed away in my life. But HIV and AIDS is still there. It's still there. And even though it's better treatments for it, it's still there. You get it the same way. Through bodily fluids, through having unprotected sex with somebody that has it, through blood, through needles. You get it the same exact way. I don't know what they do in school anymore. They taught us about AIDS and HIV. I don't know what they do in school anymore. But I know that parents need to talk to their children about this. And I always see a lot of comments and people say, you can't leave your kids with just anybody. That's true. But who are you going to leave your kids with if it's your mother and father that have done this to your kids, but they never touched you? I mean, it's just scary. It's a scary situation. You can't leave your kids at school with a teacher. They're going to school. It's just a scary, scary situation. And if any of these children have been through any of this with the people that I named in this video, or are going through this now, contact somebody. Tell somebody what's going on. I wish all the children in this video that were affected by these monsters, I wish you guys the best.